Have you ever had burning when peeing, that constant urge to go, and then suddenly noticed a headache too? That can make people wonder, can UT cause headache, or is something else going on? The answer is a little more interesting than a simple yes or no. A lower urinary tract infection usually causes symptoms like burning, urgency, frequent urination, pelvic discomfort, or cloudy urine. Headache is not usually the main classic symptom people think of first, but in real life, some people with a UTI may also feel headache, fatigue, or generally unwell, especially if fever, dehydration, poor sleep, or a more serious spread of infection enters the picture. In this video, we will break down who may notice this, what it can mean, when it may be mild, where the infection may be located, why a headache can show up alongside urinary symptoms, and how to know when it is time to stop guessing and get medical help. Stay with me until the end, because the last scene covers the red flags you should never ignore. Before answering can UT cause headache, we need to get clear on what a UTI usually feels like. Most common UTIs affect the lower urinary tract, especially the bladder and urethra. That means the usual symptoms are urinary, not head-related. People often notice burning when peeing, needing to pee more often, needing to pee urgently, lower tummy or pelvic discomfort, cloudy urine, blood in the urine, or urine that smells stronger than usual. So why does this matter? Because if headache shows up, you do not want to assume it is the main symptom of a simple bladder infection. Instead, you want to ask what else is happening in the body at the same time. Who may miss the pattern? People who focus only on the headache and ignore the urinary clues. When should you think deeper? When headache comes with fever, back pain, nausea, vomiting, or feeling much more unwell than a typical mild UTI. In other words, a straightforward lower UTI is usually recognized by urinary symptoms first, and that helps explain why headache can be a secondary clue rather than the main story. Now to the question everyone clicks for, can UT cause headache? Yes, it can happen, but usually not in the direct classic way people imagine. A mild lower UT does not typically present with headache as its main symptom. But headache may happen when the infection makes you feel run down, when you are dehydrated because you are drinking less or losing fluids with fever, or when the infection is moving beyond a simple bladder problem. Why can dehydration matter here? Because even mild dehydration can trigger headache, and dehydration is more likely if you feel unwell, are not drinking enough, or have fever. Headache can also show up because your body is under stress and inflammation. Who should pay closer attention? Anyone with urinary symptoms plus headache plus fever, chills, nausea, vomiting, or side and back pain. That combination can suggest an upper UTI, also called a kidney infection, which is more serious. So the honest answer is this. A UTI can be linked to headache, but headache often points to the body's broader response or a worsening infection rather than a simple bladder infection by itself. This is where the keyword becomes really important. When does headache with urinary symptoms become more than just an annoying combination? Often when other clues show up beside it. If a UTI spreads upward to the kidneys, symptoms can become much more intense. What should you watch for? Fever, chills, nausea, vomiting, pain in the side, back, or groin, feeling weak, and sometimes a headache that comes with the whole body sick feeling. Why does that matter? Because a kidney infection is not just a simple bladder irritation. It usually needs prompt treatment, and in severe cases it can require hospital care. Where is the difference? A lower UTI mainly affects the bladder or urethra, while an upper UT involves the kidneys, who may be at higher risk of complications. People who delay treatment, have recurrent UTIs, are older, pregnant, immunocompromised, or already feel very unwell. So if you are asking, can UT cause headache? The safer question may be, is this still a simple UT, or is my body showing me that the infection could be getting worse? That shift in thinking can make a big difference. If you have urinary symptoms and are wondering, can UT cause headache, the best next move is to ask the right questions. What exactly does the headache feel like? Dull, pounding, heavy, or more like a fever headache? When did it start before the urinary symptoms, at the same time, or after you began feeling ill? Where is the pain? Forehead, all over the head, or mainly behind the eyes? Why might it be happening today? Fever, not drinking enough, poor sleep from repeated bathroom trips, stress, or a worsening infection. Who needs to be more cautious? Anyone pregnant, older, immunocompromised, or dealing with repeated UTIs? And how unwell do you feel overall? That may be the most important question. A mild headache with poor sleep and mild dehydration is different from headache plus fever, vomiting, confusion, or severe back pain. Keep a short symptom note if needed. Urinary burning, frequency, fever, back pain, nausea, water intake, and when the headache began. Those details help you see patterns faster and explain symptoms more clearly if you need medical care. So, how should you respond if you think a UTI and headache may be connected? First, do not ignore the urinary symptoms. A UTI is usually treated based on symptoms, and when needed, urine testing and antibiotics. Drink fluids unless a clinician has told you to limit fluids for another reason, because hydration can help and dehydration itself can worsen headache. Rest matters too, especially if repeated bathroom trips have disrupted sleep. But here is the bigger point. Do not try to explain away a more serious pattern. What should make you act faster? Fever, chills, vomiting, back or side pain, confusion, unusual sleepiness, fast worsening symptoms, or feeling too weak to function normally. In rare severe cases, infection can lead to sepsis, which is a medical emergency. Why does that matter? Because once infection affects the whole body, the problem is no longer just a UTI. Who should seek prompt care sooner rather than later? People with kidney infection signs, pregnant individuals, older adults, and anyone whose symptoms are getting worse instead of better. A headache becomes more concerning when it appears with those bigger warning signs. So, what is the final answer to can UTI cause headache? Yes, it can, but usually as part of the bigger picture rather than as the most classic sign of a simple lower UTI. A mild bladder infection usually shows up with urinary symptoms first. But headache may happen when you are dehydrated, feverish, exhausted, or when the infection may be spreading upward and making you much more unwell. The smartest move is not to focus on one symptom alone. Look at the full pattern. What symptoms are happening together when they started? Where the pain is, why your body may be reacting this way, who may have higher risk, and how fast things are changing. That is how better decisions start. Disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you have urinary symptoms with fever, vomiting, back pain, confusion, worsening weakness, or you simply feel seriously unwell, seek medical care promptly. And if you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and share your questions or suggestions for future health topics. Your feedback helps shape more useful content.